They gnove, and stole away, carry away, take away by theft, secretly as to deceive. And you have heard, do not steal, and this is the verb, gonev. In this case, Yaakov, who stole away, has to gather and sit on camels. And who is he sitting on camels? You're right. Well, his family. Nun has 14, he has 2 wives, and he has 11 sons. And each wife has a servant, a maid servant. So a woman and a maid servant counted as 1. You have 2 plus 11 and himself, that gives you 14. And they has to separate and divide. And why is that? Noticing in verse 2, and Yaakov beheld the countenance of Laban. Vehine, it was not toward him as before, and therefore he separates Yaakov, supplanter, to take the place as to supersede, to circumvent, to encircle as a military tactic, and he loves tactics. I notice that Laban doesn't like me anymore, so this is the strategy. We sit on camels and we run away. What do you think? Marvelous. He follows at the heel and overreaches and assails it insidiously, as to beguiling but harmfully, intending to entrap. And isn't this interesting? Because he is the son of Rivka, to tie firmly and ensnare. But in the case of Rivka, he is into snaring man, giving her beauty. But Yaakov uses this to his advantage. As it follows, Ayin, and his name from Avek, these eyes that don't intend to see God in his provision and seeing no instruction from him. Therefore he uses his evil eye, as we all do, and starting our journey, as we don't recognize Elohim. So Yehovah has to deal with him later. And Kuv, we're going to depict it as an onion. Wow. Really? Yes, this is the unsupplanting cooking class. And be ready before you cry too much, as Yehovah removes all these layers and he gets to the core and to Zion, because all these imitations on these specks causes Yehovah to cry, and ourselves deep in our hearts, he reveals to us what's deep inside, and it's horrible. The smell gets stronger. And we cover that Kuv are like layers of Reish that are foreign, that are strangest things, extraneous and alien things. Zar. As he tries to imitate other people. He imitates his mom, and he imitates also Laban. But it's okay because Yehovah will deal with him. And that is divine revelation to Yaakov in the hidden heart. We do know that as he's running away from Esau, Harry, his brother, that he was very tired. And in a place called Luz, almond tree, he renames it Bethel, because that's when he dreamed about a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reaching to heaven, seeing that the angels of Elohim ascending and descending on it. And Yehovah reveals to him, I am Yehovah, Elohei Avraham, Avicha, Elohei Yitzchak. He laughs. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. So therefore is divine revelation in the hidden heart. However, on the 3 sides of Veit is divine concealment, given before, Veit having also a meaning of lying in his case. And as we continue, Eth Leiv, unawares. Eth is self-entity, a sign of the definite direct object. there is not a direct translation to English or other language, but is from oath, a token, a mark, warning, and appearing. Now, given that this means unaware, and eth being the contracted form of oath, we're going to remove that vav, that nail, for which he's not going to put a sticker note, "Hey Laban, I'm running away." Very well, in Greek. And he puts the note with that nail. No, he takes that nail and keeps it for later. So therefore no notice to lave the heart of Laban, in instructing his heart, Laban, white. However, through Laban, he's going to learn and to build family so far for 14 years, Nun Sofit. 7 years for her daughter, Leah, wary, and Rachel, ewe, female sheep. So 14 years, and Laban is the son of Bethuel, house of God. And he is Ha'eremi, Aramean, Assyrian, meaning exalted, Arem, as the leader who has power to start concealed experiences for Jacob, and also from Irmon, castle, but not a palace, as a citadel and fortress, and is a high region. And 3 chapters ago, he was running away, and there he goes, Jacob is running very quickly, and there he goes! Starting at Be'er-Sheve, where Yitzchak, he laughs his father, and Rivka, to tie firmly and snare. And Be'er-Sheve is the well of 7 of oaths, and is about 260 meters in elevation, and therefore goes to Laban, his uncle, from the part of his mother, and is about 500 miles away northeast. And if you compute it, it is 500 miles, and you would go at a fast pace walking, let's say, that's 5 miles per hour, then that should take you 500 divided by 5, that should be 100 hours, and 20 hours per day, given that he just takes a break 4 hours per day, given he's running away from his angry brother, that should take him 5 days. Now that's amazing, isn't it? So he goes to a high region, Eremi, in Haran, mountaineer, and also meaning burned, dried, angry and kindled. And we do know that a chapter later he is going to be mad, and Laban as well. Tea? Yes, please. But only gaining 100 meters from where he started, he traveled 500 miles or 800 kilometers to gain only 100 meters of elevation, knowing that when he stopped at Luz, almond tree, or as growing there, the place that he remained Beit El, that place has an elevation approximately about 900 meters, and that's where Jehovah revealed to him. And isn't that interesting? Now he travels longer, 500 miles or 800 kilometers, to gain only 100 meters of altitude, 362 meters at Haran. El Beli, upon and not, lack of, Beli. And we covered this one in our previous study on Markon, a defense. Chapter 16, verse 14. We associated apistian, lo eimun, not faithful, but also mi beli. And in this case, upon dividing part of the family with Laban to set his own, however in falsehood, given the Sheva of Beli, and remember the nail that Yaakov kept in his pocket? Now instead of opening his work, as a Chav Yod, we are going to nail this hand. Ow! What are you doing? I meant nailing the hand in the word Beli, metaphorically, when the Chav and the nail will become Lamet. Ah. think. Stop that. And therefore, without and wearing out of telling him, he gid lo, told him, from Nagid, as a servant or a hare, to set on camels and go through the way, but out of the mind of Laban. He's unaware of this, as we covered Edleiv. Ki boreach hu, for fled he, as to run away, put to flight, to pass through and reach across. Borech. In this division that we have been discussing so far, division in the family, but in a good way, and reish as in starting, however, after 20 years of service, 14 years for his 2 wives, Leah, weary, and Rachel, ewe, female sheep, and an additional 6 years to complete maturity, but in Yaakov's relationship with men. And now to separate on the outside and having it, Chet, who, as in fast movement, noticing that, Laban is shearing his sheep far away, I'm gonna take advantage and get out of this place to start my own family, to go back to my father's place. And as hooked, Vav is by his chief, his boss, his true boss, Elohim Yehovah, who calls him, as verse 3, and Yehovah said unto Yaakov, Shuv el eretz evithecha, return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee, and I will be with thee because I'm hooking you from this place. No matter what happens with Laban in his tactics and his kindleness and burning angry, given that Yaakov got the wealth and his family from him. But Yehovah is taking care of him, taking care of Yaakov. And in addition to this study for today, we're going to jump over the next chapter, because it is interesting to know that we cannot leave Yaakov hanging on fleeing away from Laban. But there is further work to do by Yehovah himself, because he's using still his tactics to appease Esau, his hairy brother, by sending him gifts, given that he thinks that perhaps he wants to kill him still, given he robbed Yitzchak's blessings and his birthright. But Yaakov is not trusting Yehovah, Elohim, who is in all this. So what happens is, on verse 22, it reads, And Yaakov rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 womenservants, and his 11 sons. Notice it's not 12, because Benjamin, son of the right hand, has not been born yet, until next chapter, and passed over Ev Me'ever Jabbok. And you say, hey, you're right, this is interesting, because Yaakov and Jabbok is kind of similar, and it is. And we notice Me'evar is a ford, a passage, a shallow area of river or stream that can be crossed without a bridge. And Aver, we know that Yehovah has to punch his eyes, because he wants instead to have the good eye looking at him. And therefore Aver, over and pass, as to build and mature. So far, 14 years and 6 years with Laban, that's 20. And now he has to deal with the next contender. And would he succeed against El himself? Well, he's going to punch Yaakov's left eye, his deceiving and ensnaring eye, to live it purple. Oh! And he's going to mess him around a little bit, because now he's going to switch those 2 letters, Veit and Kuv, to truly punch in his inner heart and remove all these layers. So he has removed of his ayin and Jabbok, meaning emptying. He's going to empty of himself and everyone he's trying to imitate. and he's going to contend with God. Sarah. Bim, bim, bim. Here we are in the wrestling Jabbok arena. Thou hast known Jackov. How he defeated Esau.
Yes, we saw how he defeated that hairy
How
devil.
he defeated Laban.
Why, it was no match to him. It only took 20 seconds.
And now, a great contender today! A great day for a match! Will he succeed?
Yes, he will. I put my bets on Jacob.
Are you ready? This is chapter 32 and verse 24, and here we have on one side Ya'akov, a nice, very deceiving wrestler. Now, before the breaking of day, he's going to wrestle with a man, and we see them contending against each other. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, oh no, Ya'akov is not going to prevail. He touched the fall of his thigh. Look at Ya'akov! And the whole of Ya'akov's was out of joint. Oh! As he wrestled with him, and he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh. This fight is almost over." And Ya'akov said, "I will not let thee go, except thou bless me." And he said unto him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Ya'akov." "Ya'akov, Ya'akov, Ya'akov." And he said, "Thy name shall be no more Ya'akov." Yeah. What? But Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with Elohim and with men, and hast prevailed. And Ya'akov asked him and said, "Tell me, I pray thee, thy name." And he said, "Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name?" And he blessed him, for this is the first time that Ya'akov recognizes that he's contending with God, and only God prevails. Israel has to contend, have power, and persist to fight. However, El is going to set him in order, because Yaakov was pressing into being the head in starting everything, but God revealed himself to Yaakov's hidden heart, that he has the presence of God within the human heart. For the Yod leaves the Aleph to become part of Dalet, broken humanity, and therefore his presence. And Israel is finally Yehovah, who deals with this pressing head, and with severity and discipline. However, Sheva has to sit upon it, who is the sun above the moon of this Reish, and El, his chief, his true boss in understanding his instruction, his shepherd's staff, guiding him all the way. And this is the first time we have ever dealt with his name so carefully. And we thank God that he allows us to see Yaakov, because don't we have these layers in ourselves that we have to remove? The simpler and like a potatoes with Jesu Christu, the simpler we are, the more single-minded we can be. The simpler we are before God, the more he can use us. How can he use Yaakov with all his tactics? But is from his mother, ensnared. However, on her beauty, in this case, is Yaakov's with his intelligence. And we have to assist God. We want to avoid embarrassment of having a purple eye, but is to hopefully have our eyes on him. That the less we mess around with his plan and having our own way and say, "Hey, I had it the better way." Really? I'm gonna set you in order. And instead be humble before God. In removing all these layers and getting that strong smell out of us. Are you crying?
No, I'm dealing with this onion. Man.
That his revelation be complete. And there is still work to do with Israel. Because our true goal in life is not to become like Israel, but Yehoshua, our king. And we know that Jesus was always looking on Father, that I am his last. However impressing, that with the sacrifice, and however seeing God providing all the way, that he is at work, we only obey and hearken unto him. Still, in this world, we want to build our own families. We don't want to be left alone. But Elohim is our true family. He has shown us love. We learn from Laban, white, that we can see also in ourselves, that in trying to build a family, we're going to be made righteous, because by being with people that we dislike, most likely is because they have traits that we have as well. And in disliking them, Jehovah can get rid of all these tendencies to become not Jesus, Yehoshua. That in all we may not steal away secretly. That not using and messing up with taking nails out of some words and putting them somewhere else. Rather follow God's laws in asking him, in pursuing high places to seek for his presence. For even though Jacob went to a citadel, Jehovah will set him free with blessings still. That however he stole away, and unawares, and told him not, and flee away, Jehovah was on his back. He knew that he was going to make mistakes on the way, but only God's timing is perfect. The most important thing is that our eyes will be on him. Do not work at your own accord. You're going to create more layers that Jehovah has to remove one by one again. And guide us, Jehovah, that however we are a pressing stubborn head, that at times do not believe thee, we may, however small may be, to nourish it. That as you get to that Zion deep inside us, you nourish us with thy word. As we look unto thee, thy shepherd's staff, guiding us and correcting us, letting you correct ourselves, that as we seek for thee, we will be brought back in the simplicity and the walk of Jesus, without lies, without doing things with other people's knowledge of what we intend to do, and not running away. If we ever face problems, we face them bravely, openly, with hiding nothing. For thy truth is revealed first to us, as you reveal to us, each one of us having his own experience, and in setting a seat that is right of Jesus, our Savior, Yehoshua. Amen. Although Jehovah has graciously given him, he commands them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth. The mouth too? Then who was accused and smitten said unto him, The horse shall smite thee, thou whited wall. Sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law? And he perceived, righteous and distinguished, and ponder a question to them about hope. And when great dissension arose, he was brought to the castle, he some peril on one side and the other. What a parallel! Det gick nu Jekoven, hederlev Laban, the white, Haeremi helbeligidlo. Kibore Yahu, nature's passing over, never Jabbok, too empty of himself, and look unto him. So
talk with him, but ill prevails. Israel,